This video is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I've had to wait for exactly the right conditions, the weather conditions, to do it. This is more on a technical side than it is on bragging about shooting or anything like that, but it's something, like I said, I've been wanting to do for a long time. What I needed was a large fluctuation in temperature, a reasonable fluctuation of wind, and the time of day for 10 hours. So what I did was I shot one target every hour for 10 hours. Okay? Actually, I was a little bit surprised at some of the results, but on the other hand, I kind of figured this is about what it would be, but some of the fluctuations were a little more than I expected. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the target, what I did, and let you draw your own conclusions from it. I have mine, but like I said, the conditions are going to be a little bit different depending on where you are. I'm out in the desert. Things happen quickly. It gets cold, it gets hot, it gets cold again, especially this time of the year, which is what, October, end of October, 1st of November, end of October, anyway. Anyway, I'll show you the target, and you be the judge. Okay, I hope you can read this. I'm not going to try and get any closer because I'm not going to hand hold the camera, and I'd just soon leave it like this, okay? At 7 o'clock in the morning, the wind was 14 miles an hour, temperature was 56, humidity was 18 degrees. It was kind of cloudy in the morning, not completely overcast, but kind of cloudy. And you can see that we had one up here and then down in here. The wind was, I think it was coming from left to right. The wind changes directions here, like I've said before. Because we're in a bowl, it kind of swirls. It's kind of like a mini hurricane. So, you have to do this. And then at 8 o'clock, the wind was still 14. Temperature went up 2 degrees. I kind of got a little bit closer in. Then the wind changed direction at 9 o'clock. The wind was at 12 miles an hour. The temperature was at 60. Humidity was still at 18. And I only had, this is actually 2 shots here, so there were 4. I don't know what happened with the other one. I think, oh yeah, there was a jam. And so anyway, there were only 4 here, but when the wind changed direction, it came right into my face. You can see that it kind of drove the bullets down a little bit, but the group was a little bit better. Then at 10 o'clock, the wind was at 12 miles an hour. Temperature was 63. The humidity was 19. I kept them pretty well close in here. This was probably a flyer. I'm not really sure. Or it could have been me. I don't know. At 11 o'clock here, the wind had gone down to 10 miles an hour. 65 degrees, humidity was still 19%, and you can see that they were pretty well in a line this way, but they were left and right. And I can't remember which way the wind was blowing out here because I didn't put directions down. That's my bad. At 12 o'clock, the wind came right in our face at 16 miles an hour. It was 67 degrees, and the wind actually drove the shots down. I didn't adjust the reticles or adjust the scope for any of these. It stayed the same as it was up here all the way to down here. I didn't change anything as far as the scope goes. At 1 o'clock, the wind had dropped to 8, and the temperature was 72 degrees. I didn't change anything. You can see that because the wind dropped down from 16 to 8, the shots went up. And that's what I'm doing here. This is not something to, to try to adjust anything. It's just to show what's going on. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the wind dropped down to 6. The temperature got up to 78. We had a 22-degree increase from 7 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You can see here that the group was very good. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the wind was still at 6. The temperature went up to 81, and it was 19, and that's the group I had there. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the wind was 8 miles an hour. The temperature was 80 degrees, the humidity at 19, and I was getting tired by then. The sun was right in my eyes. It was kind of difficult to shoot, and that's what I ended up with there. So, from what you see here, you can draw your own conclusions. The desert makes things a little difficult. If you've got a lot of trees around, that makes it better. We had no trees. We got no trees. All we've got is berm and a great big mountain behind us. And when the wind comes down off that mountain, it's like a Chinook. And then it swirls. It's really crazy. Anyway, that takes care of this. I hope this is informative to any of you. Gives you an idea of what can happen from early morning to middle afternoon. And that's about it. So, that's it. And we'll see you for the next video sometime here in the near future. Bye-bye.